Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel here. That was just an absolute first for me. I just recorded a 20-minute video on Apple stock, never hit record on the camera. So this is officially take two of this video. So recently I went on a $5,000 shopping spree here. I spent $5,000 on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I really put my orders in on Cyber Monday, but I want to tell you guys exactly what I bought on this Cyber Monday. A lot of people thought the best deals for Black Friday and Cyber Monday were to be had on television sets and KitchenAids and all that, but I found the best deals to be in the stock market. So I ended up getting the iPhone at 25% off. I bought 18 shares of Apple at $173.58 compared to a high of $225 just as recently as September of 2018. So that was a $3,124 purchase of Apple stock. This is a brand new addition to my portfolio. And I also bought my favorite e-commerce company at this point in time, JD.com, at 60% off, added another 99 shares to my portfolio at $20.69 per share. And this is a company that was just recently trading at $50 per share before all of this trade war drama. So I put another $2,048 into that stock. So I spent about $5,200 on this Cyber Monday into the stock market. And it's very interesting to me how people have that consumer mindset where people will go out there and buy the brand new TV or the brand new KitchenAid or whatever electronics products they're looking for, and they'll buy these things at 20, 30, 40, 50% off, and they'll throw money at these things all day. But when you see deals happening within the stock market, when you're seeing Apple stock at 25% off, people don't buy the stock. And it's crazy to me because that's how my mind works. I look at this and I see Apple, $225 stock down to $175. I'm going to be buying. JD.com, $50 stock down to $20. I'm definitely buying. But I guess it's just a mindset. You either have it or you don't. But a lot of people are just afraid to buy stocks on sale. That is certainly not me, and I backed up the truck here on Cyber Monday and loaded it with some fine companies in my opinion here. But that's what I'm going to focus on in this video, is the top 6 reasons why I decided to purchase Apple stock at this point in time. Because I've done a lot of videos recently about JD.com. So if you guys want to understand my perspective on that company, the other company I bought here, make sure you guys check out those videos over on my channel. Now, before I get into the video, I just want to mention if you guys are interested in picking up a completely free stock worth up to $1,000, Webull is currently running a promotion where if you open an account with them, you don't even have to fund it if you don't want to. They're going to give you a completely free stock worth up to $1,000. That is going to be the top link in the description below. That is an affiliate link. You guys don't have to take me up on this offer if you don't want to, but if you're interested in grabbing that free stock, that option is available to you. Top link in the description below. Anyways, now let's go ahead and talk about my top 6 reasons for why I am buying Apple stock, why I decided to add this and start a beginner or starting position here in this stock. Number 1, my first reason for buying Apple stock is that this stock currently trades at an earnings multiple or price to earnings ratio of 14.8 compared to the S&P 500, which trades at an earnings multiple of 22. So at this point in time, based on that price to earnings ratio, Apple is significantly less expensive than the overall market. So if I had to choose right now between dropping $10,000 into an S&P 500 ETF and $10,000 into Apple stock, I would personally choose investing into Apple stock because they are trading at a very reasonable valuation in this market. There are a lot of other companies. If you look at the FANG stocks and you look at the price to earnings ratio of these companies, Apple is a really good value based on that price to earnings multiple. So that is one of the core reasons why I began a position in Apple, is because I am very comfortable with this valuation based on the potential this company has long term. The second reason why I bought Apple stock is because this is both a good growth stock as well as an income stock. And most people, when you think Apple, you think technology, you think growth, you don't really think income. But Apple is beginning to become a good dividend pick here, and they currently pay a dividend yield of 1.66%. And so I absolutely am reinvesting my dividends here with Apple. That way I can take advantage of that compounding effect here, earning dividends off of my dividends. But I think this is a great opportunity here for people who are looking for both growth and income from an investment. I see this as a company that has really good growth potential going forward. They're more of a conservative than an aggressive growth stock, but they also have great income potential, and they can become a very high dividend payer in the years going forward. So I see a wonderful potential here to be paid by Apple in two different ways. And I know a lot of people are concerned about the stock market, particularly in 2019, whether or not we're going to see much growth within the stock market. And if you are concerned about that, this could be an interesting way to guarantee yourself a return for next year, because while dividends are never guaranteed, it's a pretty safe bet that that dividend is going to be consistent for 2019, and you can pretty much guarantee yourself a 1.66% return in 2019 by investing in Apple stock and taking advantage of that dividends. So Apple is an interesting pick here for both growth and income investors and people who are looking for a blended strategy of these. Number three, the third reason why I like Apple is because they are very generous with their share buybacks. They just wrapped up a over $200 billion share buyback they had started back in 2012, and in mid-2018, when that came to a close, they announced another $100 billion share buyback. And right now, if you consider the fact that this company was valued at about $1 trillion, that's about 10% of the market capitalization of this company that's going to be bought back over the coming years. So that is what I like to see, is when companies are being generous with their share buybacks. Now, a lot of people are not familiar with why a company would buy back their own shares, so I want to go ahead and cover a couple of reasons why they do this. First of all, one reason that you will see is that companies are looking to inflate their earnings per share. By reducing the number of total outstanding shares, it's going to increase the earnings per share. So it's kind of an accounting trick for them, where by basically taking shares off the market, it inflates the bottom line earnings and it looks better for shareholders. Now, is that the only reason for a company to buy back shares? No, but it is an advantage for them, and it's a reason why a lot of companies do this. Second of all, it's a way for companies to put idle cash to work. Apple is a company that is sitting on a lot of cash, and just like consumers, we don't have a lot of short-term options for investments. Short-term bond yields are not that great. CDs pay next to nothing. Checking accounts pay next to nothing. And we don't want to have money sitting there being deteriorated and eaten up here by inflation. And so we like to put our idle cash to work just like Apple does. And it's a way for them to put that cash to work and not have it sitting there being deteriorated by our enemy there, inflation. And then the final reason why companies will do this is because it's a way for them to reward shareholders outside of raising the dividend. Because you have to understand that companies go through business cycles, and maybe they're doing exceptionally well at this point in time and they have a lot of cash. They could increase the dividend, but let's say they know down the road a couple of years they might be in a poor business cycle or a different part of the cycle, and they're not going to be making as much money. They don't want to raise that dividend and then have to cut it in the future. Companies would rather raise the dividend slowly and steadily, and so it's a way for them to reward shareholders without necessarily increasing that dividend and getting ahead of themselves. So that's a couple of reasons why companies will do a share buyback, and again, that's why Apple is doing this as well. Number four, the main reason why I decided to buy Apple at this point in time is because I believe that all of these perceived negatives surrounding this company are short-term. Obviously, me being a long-term investor, I look at where is this company going to go in the next 5 years, in the next 10, 15 years. I don't look at companies on a quarter-by-quarter basis, and a lot of people do that. And that is why there is this buying opportunity that has shown up here with Apple stock. It is not common that you're going to see a buying opportunity of 20 to 25% off of a stock like Apple. So this is what I believe are the perceived negatives of Apple stock right now. Number one, we know there was an underwhelming product launch here in 2018. The latest and greatest iPhones were not necessarily that great because Apple has been up against the law of diminishing returns for a very long time. And last year's model of Apple products are still brilliant, functional pieces of technology. And so the concern there is there going to be enough of an incentive for people to upgrade to the newest iPhone? But people are very loyal to their Apple products. There's a reason this is an Apple computer sitting right here and not a Toshiba or a Lenovo or IBM. It's because of the strength of this brand and the loyalty people have to this brand. And this is not going to go away ever, in my opinion. The second perceived negative right now is in their most recent earnings report, which was a very solid report. There was weak forward-looking guidance. I don't really look at that as a negative. Again, short-term turbulence, perceived negative in the short term. They're in a bit of a hiccup right now in a longer ongoing trend, and some people are getting caught in this trap and selling off at a very poor time. Other than that, we know that Apple mentioned they are going to be no longer reporting unit sales individually. Some people believe this is Apple trying to hide things from shareholders. And then the most recent short-term negative or perceived negative for the stock is that Trump is talking about slapping a 10% tariff on iPhones, where basically imported iPhones from China would have to have a 10% tariff on them. That's going to increase the price of the iPhones for consumers. And people are fearful of whether or not consumers are going to pay $1,100 for an iPhone instead of $1,000. And so what I believe this to be is all short-term noise, short-term negatives that are not going to affect Apple in 5 or 10 years. In 5 to 10 years, nobody's going to be talking about China tariffs or 1 quarter of forward-looking guidance or one underwhelming year here with their products. This is all short-term turbulence, and long-term investors understand that, and a lot of them are taking advantage of this opportunity. Number 5, this ties in with what I said already with number 4. Apple is no longer a company that you scrutinize and look at on a quarter-by-quarter basis. They have such a long and well-established track record at this point in time. You don't have to look at Apple quarter by quarter and crunch the numbers and say, oh, you know, they had a bad quarter. I wonder if this is it for them. They have been around for a very long time. They are at one point in time the world's most valuable company. I know Microsoft might have slipped in there for a little bit, but they are the world's most valuable publicly traded company for a reason. Very strong track record. There are so many reasons to love this company, and they are not going anywhere anytime soon. And Apple is one of the only stocks I can think of where if you were an investor in this company, you wouldn't even necessarily have to look at all the quarterly earnings reports. I believe with Apple, you could take a look at that annual report, get an idea of the long-term trajectory of this company, and you don't even really have to worry about the quarter-by-quarter basis with this company because they have such a long and well-established track record. And I think a lot of people are scrutinizing them on a quarter-by-quarter basis, and that caused, Apple to go on sale 20 to 25% at this point in time. And then my final point here on Apple is that this is one of the only investments that I would call a beginner-friendly investment. I believe this was on my top stock picks for beginner as far back as 2017. I'll throw a screenshot up if that's the case. And so I see Apple as a beginner-friendly investment for a lot of the reasons I mentioned already. They have a massive moat, very strong brand, very loyal customer base, a long operating history, and it's a stock that is not very volatile, and it's also a growth and income investment at this point in time, so I see it as a very solid pick here for beginners. But on that note, I just want to remind you guys that if you are, looking at videos like this and then going out and buying stocks, always make sure you're conducting your own research on your investments and forming your own opinion about them, because you do not want to be a piggyback investor. You don't want to solely buy stuff because some talking head on TV or some YouTube guy or some blogger says, oh, I'm buying this stock. You always want to formulate your own opinion of these companies, because that's what's going to keep you as a loyal investor in the long term, and that's going to allow you to ride out possible bumps in the road. You need to be unwavered based on the market. When the market is telling you you're wrong and you're an idiot, you need to be firm in your opinion and your thesis of this stock. And if you don't formulate your own opinion, you're going to be like a bag in the wind being blown in whatever direction the market is going. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear what you guys think about Apple stock down in the comment section below. Are you buying right now? Are you selling? Are you waiting to buy? Would love to hear what you guys think. And then, of course, like I mentioned, if you guys want to grab that free stock worth up to $1,000, top link in the description below. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.